Naya, whenever you want to start.
Oh, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my name is Naya. We are on Music Cap, and we are here with the great artist. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, hey guys, check it. I am an independent R&B pop singer based in San Diego, California. I've been singing for basically as long as I can remember, honestly. It's just such a good outlet for everything. It's something that I do when I'm bored, something that I do when I'm sad, something I do when I'm happy. So it's basically just such a great thing for me to be able to kind of like step out of reality for a second and jump into, which is so fun and I love doing it. And I just love everything with music. So
We're going to switch it up a little bit. We know we already talked about, but tell us first about you, the voice, the Emmy Awards show voice. Tell us a little bit about how you got on it, and and what was your experience like?
yeah, so being on The Voice was crazy. So back in 2019, like February of 2019, my season 16 aired. Um, Going kind of in depth, I did my blind audition, which was actually pre-filmed, but we did my blind audition. When I did my blind audition, I was 18 at the time, but when the show aired, I was 19, or a little after the show had aired, I was 19. I did my blind audition, and I honestly kind of blacked out when I was on stage. I was so excited and so nervous at the same time that I just didn't even realize what was going on. So I was on Blake Shelton's team. Going into the battle rounds, I was stolen by John Legend and Adam Levine. I ended up choosing Adam Levine, so I was on his team. And then after that, in the cross battles, I actually ended up getting stolen back onto Blake Shelton's team. So it was a big little switcheroo, but it was so much fun. And just the experience in general was amazing. Meeting the other contestants on the show was so great. But being able to work so closely with Blake and with Adam and even with the other coaches too, even though they're not your coaches, was such an amazing experience. And just getting that knowledge from people
Mm-hmm.
have been in the music business for so long and who know everything like back to front, who are amazing musicians, amazing singers. It was just seriously one of the best experiences that I
Now,
could.
tell me a little bit about being on the Pacific team, like when you were getting stolen back and forth or whatever like that. First of all, who team did you really want to be on? Like, even though you were getting stolen back and forth, who team did you really gas like to?
Honestly, it's a weird thing because they always say before, because I went into it, I was like, you know what, I want to be on John Legend's team. I would throw,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably like
Yeah.
pass out onto the floor, which I did almost when I even just saw him. But they tell you too before you go on, they're like, don't specifically in your head because you want to listen to what everyone else, like what all the coaches are saying before you choose. And you don't want anything to kind of like defer you from that. And
Okay.
so I went in and I was like, you know what? I don't care. John Legend, like, that's what I want. But
Yes.
but listening to Adam and Blake both just, give me insight on things. I was like, you know what? I think it'd be really cool, first of all, Blake's team, because he's a country artist. He doesn't do pop. I do pop. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is such a weird pairing. And Adam even said that during my blind audition. He said it's such a weird pairing of people. But
Yes.
it ended up working so well because he taught me so much. In country music, it's so much about storytelling. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a lot of times is what pop music is lacking almost sometimes.
Yeah.
And just, people are so focused on the beat and the drums and everything like that. And so it was super cool to be able to hear like a storytelling emotional side from Blake when he was coaching me through a lot of stuff. And then when I was on Adam's team, it was more so just like taking that emotion that I had gotten from Blake's team and taking what I had built with Blake for just the songs that I was working on and taking that and being able to kind of portray that into now then like a pop scenario. Like
Right.
it worked so good hand in hand. And looking back, I'm so happy that I switched around so much because I was actually able to work with both of them so closely that they complemented each other so well when it came to what they taught me,
And
um, and being a better artist.
Yes, and you are so right. So many music artists today are just focused on the beat or whatever like that, and you can't even follow some of the songs that they write out. It's like everyone hears it, but the majority that they're listening to is just a beat. It's hard to gasp what they're talking about. And you are right. Country music does. It's like you listen to every song and it has a story to it. You can actually follow it, and you're like, oh, okay, so he's talking about a female at a bar, and then you're like, and it's so fun. And he does. John Blake he has so many awesome songs or whatever like that. And it's not so much as him just being a country. He does have some songs that does have like a pop version to it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch The Voice show, you see him pick up a lot of pop artists that can like you said, get that experience of that story writing that is so much that people want to hear, what's this song about? You know what I'm saying? Or what do you out, whatever. What are we hearing? Are we just hearing melodies? Did you just wake up and hear a melody and wanted to put some words to it? And things like that. So it is. And that's what's so good about your song that you just got out, Blair. Because when you listen to it, you can actually gasp.
Oh, thank you.
Out, whatever. And I think that education from him took that, you took that on, and you could actually follow, which is great. And I mean, that's what makes your song is probably gonna, like I said, it's probably gonna blow everyone's mind.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's such an awesome song. It has a good melody. You can actually follow it, and I agree. It's so many country artists. I mean, you can definitely read a story about it. So
exactly. That's definitely something that since being off the show, I really am making sure I'm trying to do in my own music is just making sure that there's a storyline there and making sure that you can follow along with it, And so I just think it's, I mean, not to say that songs that don't have a storyline are not good. I think just in my personal opinion now, after going through all of that on the show and being able to work so close with them and learning so much from them, it's like whenever I write songs now, I find it more enjoyable when I can sit down and write a whole storyline of something. So I think that's something that I really enjoy doing, especially with my song Blase that just came out, was just because it's like if you listen to the lyrics, there is a storyline in there. It's like the choruses are the same, obviously, but if you really sit there and listen to every single verse of the song, it's like there is a little bit of a storyline in there, which is something that I'm really trying to like channel into all of my music now, being on the show.
When you told me before what it actually was, then I clicked. I was like, it was. I was like, when I listened to it, you like, there it goes. There's that click. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the songs back in the day, they all had a storyline to it, and people are like leaning towards songs back in the day because they were good. You could actually follow. They had an upbeat version of it. So yes, it was awesome. So tell us a little bit about your song. You said and what made you think of the name, and about what made you come out on June 18th.
Yeah. So this is such a weird story. It's so strange, so funny. But I was actually in Florida for my birthday with my parents and one of my best friends. And we were on the plane ride back to San Diego. And we were getting airdropped just these random things. There was Wi-Fi on the plane. So we just kept getting airdropped from like a random phone number, just like these random memes, random things. And we were like, who is this? And so we ended up finding out that the person who was sending us these airdrops was there with her entire family on the plane. She was like across from us, but one row back and the row before it, like behind that with her whole family. And so she was like, send me your guys' number. I'll make a group chat with like me and my siblings. And so I was like, okay, fine. Like I'm terrified of planes. So maybe this will help me get my mind off the next 5 hours of my flight. So we were in this group chat, and Caden, who was one of the siblings, he messaged in the group chat, and he was like, oh, I heard one of you guys does music. And I was like, oh, yeah, I sing. And he was like, oh, that's so sick. Me too. And so we were just kind of talking for the next 2 weeks, just texting, FaceTiming, and since him and I have become like best friends, he's clever. But we ended up, we were FaceTiming one time, and I was just singing him this song. I was like, tell me if you like this. I don't know if I want to do anything with it or not. And I started playing it for him, and he like just sat there and stared at me, and I was like, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, Kendra, we need to do this right now. And I was like, oh, right now. Okay. So literally like without mixing and mastering, the creation of the song took about 2 hours. And
Wow.
so it flowed so well. And I think Caden is just so talented in what he does in general. He's just, when he sits down at his computer and he is working and there's no stopping him. And 20 minutes later, he could have some like amazing creation, you know? And so just us working together, I think really was super awesome. And being able to kind of bounce ideas off of him and go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in the music business for a while as well. And so I think that being able to kind of collaborate on things was super awesome. And so the whole song is basically about someone who's uninterested or bored. I was going to name the song Bored until I realized that was kind of so I was like, you know what? Blasé is such a good word for that. And so we decided to name the song Blasé. And the whole song is basically just about being bored, being uninterested, having someone texting you, calling you, blowing up your phone. You don't want to talk to them. You're just kind of like, dude, I've told you so many times, like, leave me alone. They don't leave you alone. And especially nowadays with everyone on their phones, it's like you have to at least have one person in your phone that you're like, oh,
Oh, God, yes.
You know, there's at least one person. And if someone says that there's not anybody in their phone like that, they're lying. You're lying to me because there has to be one person.
Right.
And so even just bad timing sometimes. Like I'll wake up in the morning sometimes and I'll get a call from my friend at like 3 a.m. and she's like, hey, I'm like, huh? And it's just like in that moment, I'm like, of course I want to talk to you, but it's 3 a.m, dude. Like we're not having a conversation right now. I'm going to bed.
Oh my God.
So it's just like, there's so many situations and scenarios that can be used with Blasé in general. It's just being uninterested, being bored, you know, you're going out on a date, it's not going well, Blasé, you know? And so it's just kind of like a universal song for pretty much anything about being uninterested, bored, so.
I can see that song on a Disney movie.
Oh!
Yeah, that is such a unique song. I mean,
thank you.
And like you just explaining it of what it's about, yes, I see it. I see it.
Oh, thank you so much.
So tell us, with all of what you're doing in your industry and what your career that you're following.
Yeah.
I know we make it look easy as artists, and everyone who looks and they're like, oh my God, I want to become an artist or things like that or whatever like that. But of course, we go through our trials, we go through our issues, we go through our emotional breakdowns and things like that. How do you cope with your music industry? That's what you're doing, and what do you do? What type of therapy? Not saying that you do it, but what do to get you past these emotional issues and then keep going, saying, I got to do this. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely really hard with artists, musicians, just anyone in the music industry when it comes to that, is just because, like you said, it's definitely very emotionally hard sometimes, and it's not a job that you're going to walk into and you have a set amount of hours every single week and you go in, you do your job, and you come home.
Yes.
It's so like if I sat down and I tell myself, you know what, Kendra, tomorrow I'm going to write all day and I'm going to be writing all day. If I wake up tomorrow and I start writing and my mind is not working the way that it should be and I'm not getting any lyrics flowing to me, it's like I can't sit there all day and try because it's not going to come out naturally. And so it's like there goes one day of work for me. And so it's definitely a really weird situation because it's not like you're just going in and doing something and getting paid for what you're doing, but it's so amazing in that way because it's like I am able to work pretty much whenever, which is crazy. So Blasé is like I literally pulled over on the side of the road and started writing it because my radio wasn't working, my Bluetooth wasn't working, I was almost to my house, I thought of the melody, thought of a couple lines, pulled over on the side of the road and started writing it down on my phone.
Yes.
So I was like, it literally can come from anywhere, but that being said is like it's definitely very emotionally hard with a lot of things in the music industry, especially comparing yourself to people and even just like modeling and posting on Instagram too in general. It's like it's so hard sometimes when you compare yourself to people and when you're just you're really hard on yourself. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize with artists, musicians, models, photographers, like anybody that you could possibly think of. they're so hard on themselves, and I think that's something that is taken really lightly a lot of the time, and people don't really think of it. But as far as coping with it goes, honestly, I just find that surrounding myself with the right people always helps me. And just basically just throwing myself into my music and not really caring, almost. And so it's just basically like, I'm doing this because I love doing it. And I'm just blessed enough to be able to have people who are liking what I'm doing and who are supporting what I'm doing. And especially like my friends, my family, my team, like everybody is just so supportive of everything that I'm doing. And I think that having that group of people that are supporting me, helping me push through, has been one of the biggest blessings that I could have possibly ever asked for going into the music industry.
It does. You have to have that. You have to have that mutual respect from the people that follow you, and then they have to be there for you. They have to support you and stuff like that.
Exactly.
You're negative people. You're gonna have haters. Who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? But you keep going. You are a beautiful, beautiful girl, and I mean, you're
thank you.
blast out. Like you just say, I see that song on a Disney. I just have it in my head.
Oh, thank you. Fingers are crossed. Hope so.
But I know it's gonna be picked up. It's like I'm hearing it in a movie somewhere. Some child is not gonna want her friends calling her, and I'm like,
oh my gosh, you're so sweet.
You have to have that support. And I mean, sometimes, even not so, like you said, model. I do photography. I used to when I was little, and you're right. You compare yourself to so many people, like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. I don't have eyebrows like that. I don't have a nose like that. And then you go out and you go get plastic surgery. For what? Be yourself.
Exactly.
You're unique. Be unique. That's what makes you stand out. And then you have those who support you, who follows you, who says, you know what, be yourself. And once you be yourself, then you start thinking of all these ideas. Then you can come out and you can be, you know what I'm saying? You can do all these things once you start focusing on yourself and not focusing on how you look toward people. So you're right. Focus on music, focus on you. Those people who are going to love you. Have a manager who probably like, hey, this is my girl. I'm going to be there for her. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It is. So with that being said, so tell us a little bit of where we can find you at. These people who are listening, where can they find music at, and where can they find you at if they just wanted to get in touch with you or whatever like that? Do you have areas where they can find you in your music?
So my music is on all streaming platforms. So basically anything that you can listen to music on, my music is there. So if you type in Kendra Checkits, it will come up. Basically all of my social media is Kendra Checkits, except for my TikTok, which is Kendra Checkits Music. If you go to my Instagram, I have most of my other social medias linked, and in my bio of my Instagram, I have a website that you can click on that will transfer you to any streaming site that you can stream Blase on. So
awesome.
If you want to come check out the social medias, come stream the song.
Yes, you guys got to listen to it. It's a wonderful, wonderful song. And once you listen to it, you guys are going to believe me. That needs to be on the video. I mean, it's an upbeat song. Thank you
Thank you so much.
Like I said, you are a beautiful, inspiring artist out there. And
thank you so much. That means so much.
All right. And what I need, if you can, I just want you to give a shout